niceness, but there is such a warmth to, it's in our culture, in our DNA. Africa is all about community. Being African is about community. In South Africa, they say Ubuntu, which is, all about, it's us as a collective. Even with the way you grow up, you're not raised singly by yourself. It's not, what am I going to get? It's not, how am I going to thrive? It's, how do we raise up a community? How do we build a community?
It takes a village to raise a child.
It takes a village to raise a child. That's really the essence of being African, is the community. I know we spoke about music earlier on, but I think it's one of the most beautiful elements of being, I hate saying being African, but it is, because it runs in all of our bones and all of our veins, is the music element. Yeah. Music is a form of, not that kind of music, but music, no, I'm kidding. But music is a form of, like, it's in our DNA, it's in our blood, it's a form of expression. So everything. We sing and dance when we are happy. Yeah. We sing when we are in mourning. Yeah. It's just this kind of music that it's so interesting here, especially when you go, okay, so in Shona, in Zim, you'll go Kumusha. So it's like when you go back home, like to the rural areas, not even the rural areas, but just in general, like when you're within the Black communities, people just start singing, and the harmonies that come in, and you're like, no one teaches you, no one gives you a sheet of paper and says, this is where you sing. Now, when people go low, you go high.
Let us know, let us know.
Your body just knows what to do, and it's an emotional experience. So why come? Just come. So come visit, and then just stay, and then just be like, oh, it's home now.
I suppose, I mean, I kind of understand what Wayne's saying, but I suppose every part of the world has got its own set of issues. If you're looking to move to another country, well, after 2 weeks, your tourist money's run out. How are you going to live? Do you have to get a visa to stay there? Will people employ you? You're a foreigner in their country. Why should I give you a job when there's a local man here who can do the same work? You know what I mean? So it ain't as easy to say, yeah, man, let me just get up and move. I think there's a lot of planning involved. And with Africa being the size of what it is, I suppose the only way you could say your motherland way was if you was to trace your ancestors back to where they got dragged off the boat or put on the boat and say, well, where did they start from? And that's the only way you'd actually say, because I do know, I think was it Ghana? Was that a country on the West Coast? So that's where so that's where a lot of trafficking went from. But, I've seen Ghanaians, I've known a few Ghanaians, I thought, they look like me, man. They look got the same shaped head. You know what I mean? So maybe I'm Ghanaian by definition, even though Ghana wouldn't have been called Ghana. So, you know what I mean? But it's amazing, man. I think a lot of Europeans have got no idea about Africa. They class it as one big country. They just don't understand it. This is like this is a diverse, multicolored continent which offers the greatest beauty, and that's it.
It's also, I think, also like your viewpoints on the world. So it's just like sometimes, like it is very like worrisome. It bothers me a lot sometimes to see the images, even today, that are portrayed of various African countries. There's poverty in almost every single country you'll go to in the world. It's just you display that. So you hardly ever see the poverty-stricken areas of the US, but they are there.
There's loads. Absolutely.
Exactly. But when you're talking about certain African countries, like the media sometimes
false narrative, isn't it?
This is what it is. It must be like that. No, we have bustling cities. We have.
When I stayed in, I think I stayed in Dubai, and they were showing, because I didn't realise how much colour was in Dubai for some reason. I just thought it'd be all Europeans. I've gone there and it's pure colour. It's beautiful. It's like and they're working and they're doing their thing and they're making money. But I was watching one of the channels and it was showing, I think it was Nigel. I think it was South Africa actually. It was showing the city, one of the cities. And I'm looking, I'm thinking, whoa, look at the skyscraper. We've got to run them clean. Everyone's wearing suits and looking sharp. I'm thinking, hold on a minute. Why aren't they showing more of this when they portray, this great continent on? And it's just a false narrative. It's almost, obviously I don't want to go down that Black Lives Matter thing, but, they're still trying to show this false narrative of, yeah, man, we've got to feel sorry for the Africans because they can't, they can't do anything like what us Europeans can. And the reality is, there's parts of Africa that have moved past Europe now.
Way past, especially in medicine and stuff like that as well.
Medicine, scientists, educated people. But unfortunately, we don't get to hear those celebrations as loudly as we should.
Usually. Because when we usually get to hear it is when some guys from Europe has bought a trademark or copyright over whatever it is that, in the first place. And I'm not just saying that as a we know so well. We've discussed on the show, and you've put things on in the group, Nigel, where we've had to start looking through the books and showcasing what Black people have done, start celebrating them, because the truth of the matter is, if you took away the civil rights movement in the US, and you took away maybe a few high-flying sports athletes and musicians, then who are the Black heroes that you actually do know about? We've got Nelson Mandela or Muhammad Ali and these kind of people. Then I'm a bit lost myself, and I'm being honest, and I don't feel like I'm being naive or ignorant to history in general, because I know a lot about European history. I know a lot about American history. The point is that it was deliberately not taught to us, and it kind of leads me on to what I did want to ask you, Rutendo, about and what Nigel alluded to when he was talking about false narratives. Like, what is the perception that you have in South Africa of what maybe people from Europe or America think about South Africa and South Africans? Do you think it's a positive thing? Do you feel like when you travel that, when you say you're South African, it's a positive thing? Or do you feel like people don't understand or know a lot about South Africa or South African people?
Interesting and tricky one. So I guess it also just comes down to the communities or the people who you've surrounded yourself in. So I do have family in both Europe and in the US. So when I travel to those places, it's not like the concept of someone coming from South Africa is not like a weird thing. So I do have to, one of my most memorable moments in the US was trying to explain to someone where South Africa was on the map.
Oh my God.
It was just like, I'm not having I think I was just getting upset because she wasn't getting it. She wasn't getting it. She wasn't.
Right.
So,
they're not the brightest.
But but you know what? The thing is, I mean, coming back to education and stuff, we know a lot about, and Simon, you're saying it now, like, we also know a lot about European history and what our perceptions of the US are. We haven't been fully taught a lot of, properly taught South African history and properly taught African history.
Yeah. Wait there. You don't get taught African history in Africa.
African history, and no, I mean like quintessential African history.
Proper African history.
I mean, our education was created by the West. So how are they going to tell Africans
about Africa? Yeah, exactly.
And then again, part of like the decolonization of the education systems are like, can we actually just learn our proper true history and legitimately, and not learn about everything that happened overseas?
That's a really interesting. And obviously, you can't speak for the whole of Africa, but it would be interesting to speak to some of the other, or someone from some of the other African countries to find out what they're being taught. Because I always see African people as being proud because they come, wherever they go, they know that they can trace their roots right back. Boom, 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 boom. My great grandfather was so and so tribal. You know what I mean? And I think that in itself, that's so much power within that. But it'd be interesting to know, for example, in Nigeria, whether they're taught Nigerian history or whether it's been kind of, because it was a colony, one of the British colonies, whether that English history's been mixed up a little bit. And it's, oh yes, we did this for you and we did that for you, and oh well, ha ha ha. you know, that'd be interesting to find out.
But you're talking about, so there are two different histories that you're talking about. You're talking about, on the one aspect, the cultural history, right? You're taught within your culture. And that is ingrained, like that people are very proud about their cultural history. What I'm talking about is the history in the history books.
Yes.
So in terms of like, why is the first thing, I mean, I could talk about like South African history when you're taught from the first person who settled in South Africa. But that's not where the start of our history is. Like we should be going way back, and that should be the first thing, right? So our perception of where we come from shouldn't start with the center of the West. It should start African.
Absolutely.
And then how much in that history does one go into as well? So also down to the books that we're reading. Like, yes, it's great to know the literature of, like, you know, Shakespeare and all that stuff. It's beautiful and that's great. But let's get more like African author books into the schools. Again, it comes down to identity. What is your identity ingrained in if you are not seeing more of yourself in what you're doing?
I think the best way to say that maybe is how much of your identity remains after everything that's been done to strip it away, because it has been a very deliberate process, whether that be from moving people away from Africa and stopping them from dancing and stopping them from speaking their native tongue and stopping people from being able to read, and basically you indoctrinate them with the basically the new set of rules. It's almost like a complete mind reset without the need of a, you know, some kind of brainwashing technique. You literally just tell them each and every day, no, your name is now Stephen, and your name, you know, and now you do this and you speak this language and you read these books, and, you know, Columbus discovered Americas in 1492 and so on and so forth. And it would be, I think, really interesting, now we've tried to get your perspective, to actually work out, you know, in other, not just African countries, but in countries around the world, especially colonized countries, how their history is taught to them in the modern day, and if it has been updated, because that was something that was really, like I said, it was really crucial that I found out from you. Do you learn basically the English curriculum or the UK curriculum, or do you have this your own curriculum? And what I didn't actually envisage was the fact that you said no, it was actually denied to black people originally. They didn't get the English curriculum, it was actually denied to them, so they had, you know, African teachers teaching them, you know, African subjects. It's just interesting to see how that may have changed in different countries around the world now, post-colonization.
There was something I was going to say, but I forgot.
What I want to add to that is I can't believe that they took away our names, and more importantly, they took away our religions. Because I've recently become very interested in the true African religion and where our religion is, because obviously we're told that Jesus Christ is this dude came from somewhere. Doesn't even fit the description of the guy who actually came from somewhere. And we've been told this story, and I'm like, hold on, but wait there. They went to Africa. The guys in Europe went to Africa, and all these African people who worship something. They worship something.
Different things in different places, like the same even in the UK, you know, religion before Christianity or Catholicism was very, if you was in the southwest of England, it was a lot of paganism and stuff like that. If you went to other parts of the country, there was other, you know, they prayed to different things. So I think it just depends on, again, what period in history you're talking about. Because if you're talking about literally at the point of slavery, which I think you are in that, then, you know, there's going to have been a lot of religions depending on where you are. You just remember the vastness of Africa in general. So like Nigel was saying, in Ghana, there would be something probably very different. So there would be in South Africa. That's just me assuming, but
and you got to remember as well is, you know, all these lovely names that these African countries have been given weren't actually the names that they were to begin with.
Exactly. You can't even trace anything. You can't even like, oh, yeah, that was this.
Well, that's the thing. You know, I suppose if you go far back enough, it probably was one country, and it was just right. Then people lived there, they lived there. it was other people who come along and said, "Why we have to put a bada in there now because
actually
my teeth tomato and then keep teeth in my grapes. So put a bada there one water."
I was gonna say, Africa used to be called Ethiopia, and that's like the first. That was the original name to Africa before they called it Africa. Ethiopia is the first. Yeah.
They did that.
Is that right?
Dude, facts, man. Facts.
Did you say Ethiopia?
Yeah.
I know. So I don't know about that, but I know Azania. Ethiopia is a country.
It's a country, but that was the name of Africa. That was the name of a large portion of Africa, at least. A large portion was called Ethiopia.
I know Azania. I know for the large part, I think kind of like the southern part of Africa was called Azania. I know that.
Oh, okay.
Ethiopia.
You're on about the biblical periods. It was Al-Kebulan. So we need to research more before a show. Anyway, what I reckon. Sorry, I did want to just ask something else because obviously we've touched on a couple of deep things, but I did want to ask you about your personal music interests and what sort of music you listen to. Do you listen to a lot of South African music, or do you listen to a lot of what I would call popular music? US Billboard. I'm not going to say crap, but stuff.
This is like my favorite question to answer. Thank you so much because I will tell you, I wouldn't say it's like a weird taste in music, but it's not the conventional thing of music. I love film scores. If you ever see me behind my computer, best believe I'm blasting a film score, but I'm dancing like I'm in a club, but I'm dancing to like film scores and I'm dancing to like all this classical music, and like it's wild sometimes for me because it's a jam. Like that is the music that speaks to my soul is like orchestral arrangements, film scores. There's just
yes. So you must love Hans Zimmer then, like these kind of people.
It's magical. I mean, obviously I do listen to, obviously there's the commercial music, knowing the hits, because when eventually one does go out, you also want to sing along. You don't want to be the person just here, you also want to be lyrically with people. So I do listen to a lot of commercial music. I love Afro beats. Like that is really cool.
Seriously, man, that's the best secret that come out of Africa in the last 10 years. When I started hearing Black Coffee and people like that, I was like, hold on a minute, where have these guys been hiding? Why have they not showed me this music before? And trust me, if I go through my phone now, it's full of albums from African artists, South African artists. It's like that's me, man. I feel that music because they put in elements of tribal, like original kind of beats, you know what I mean? I can see them dancing to it, man, just like doing their thing, man, because they're happy. Seriously, man. Afro beats, man.
It's a jam. Yeah. But that's in a nutshell, pretty much me. Yeah.
Okay. Then we'll probably wrap this up. We would love to get you back on so we can do a part 2 of this.
Amazing.
You're gonna have to wait a couple of weeks though, because we're really full.
I'm gonna find you on Facebook now, Rutendo.
You have to wait a couple of weeks unless I can get these guys to do a second show, man, which is like hard and finding a needle in a haystack. But it's been very informative, and I'm thankful for everything you can give us. You blessed us with information and stuff that we didn't know.
I hope it, for those things, because you always get people who are like, actually what she said was incorrect. I'm kidding. Most of it is actually correct.
Yeah. The thing is, your experience is based on where you are and how you've lived and the countries you've been to. We could get a guy on from Morocco next week and he might say completely different things to you based on his own reality, what he's going through. So but it's nice. It's been nice because I have met a few white South Africans in my time. I've met a lot of Zimbabweans, but it's really nice to kind of meet a Black South African. And sounds like you got things going on over there, girl. Good, man. It's positive, man.
Doing
Good
well,
to hear.
man.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Anyway, anyone got anything? Let's start with our guest today, Rutendo. Have you got anything to promote? Anything you want to say?
Of course, always. What am I going to promote? No, I'm kidding. First of all, I would love to say, thank you guys so much for this. So this is really funny. Not really funny, but this is my first time that I've been interviewed on someone's podcast. It's been really cool. Realize that
I said interesting. That's good.
But it was fun. And yeah, you guys, this is so great because also I also just speak to a number. I never also just have all guys set up. This feels like a panel. I feel like I could just join your team. I'll just be the person who's here. Just throws a bunch. Think about it. Team talk. Think about it. I'm kidding.
There might be a space. I mean, there's always a space open if you want to come and join us. Believe me, if you want. I've got so many ideas. I'm looking for creative people to join the movement.
Yeah.
It's all about collaboration.
Yeah. But thank you guys so much. And then I guess the only promotion thing that I would just throw out there is the podcast sessions, digital magazine.
Yep.
I would love we're trying to just build a community around it so people could subscribe, download it. We're not gonna spam people's inbox once a week. It's literally gonna be once a month that we're hey, we're releasing this podcast magazine. And if people want to contribute, then it's definitely, it doesn't matter where you are in your podcast journey, whether you're starting, we would love to read about your starting journey, or if you're advanced and you want to talk about something specific, please do.
Fantastic.
You can just follow me at the podcast sessions. I think
awesome.
I might be.
Yeah, we're gonna post in our group and try and get some more people to be involved in it. And obviously, we're gonna be involved in it, of course. And I guess Simon's also gonna be involved in it with his side project. So, yeah, man. And Simon, do you wanna string on?
I just wanted to just thank you again, Rutendo, for coming on. I think you've sort of definitely illuminated the room and shed a lot of light on a few things. I definitely agree with Alstallio that we need a part 2. We've definitely enjoyed having you on. And I think what's happening in general over here is people are focusing a lot more now on Africa, but not in the traditional sense where it's just all, advertisements that are just not even advertisements, but charity appeals and stuff. People are starting to look at Africa in a different way. And I think what would be really positive is like these guys said, is if we can start to have a little bit look closely into each other's communities and just see where that leads us. And that's an interesting journey. So nothing business wise to promote. I just want to promote collaboration and unity between us and, as Alstallio would say, the motherland.
Motherland, I'm going to my motherland.
The motherland is, I just want to say on a quick, finishing note about the motherland. Alstallio spent 6 months in Brazil, and the thing that he probably felt straight away was that connection to be around black people. So I think it's just feeling like he's around people who share the same values and thoughts as he does, and that. So yeah, man, big up all the people in the world, man. Let's give a shout out to our black people who have been really struggling, man, and getting a rough deal, man. Let's celebrate it instead of discriminate.
Yeah. Nigel?
Rutendo. Thank you so much for coming on. It's good to speak to you. Definitely insightful. So much more to speak about. I've friend requested you on Facebook, so we'll carry on the discussion, man, around marketing and what you're doing. I'll tell you what we're doing, and if we can rise together, so be it, girl. So be it.
All right, man. Thanks, guys. Like I said, we always dance out toward the track a little bit, but I won't leave it running the whole time. Remember, keep listening to the Blackopolypse podcast media. We've got the series coming up, the mini-series. We've got the podcast, Live in Germany, Family Affair, and this one. And yeah, man, we're doing a lot of stuff. And we're going to get her on full-time, I think.
You definitely recruited, girl.
All right, guys. I'll see you guys next week, yeah?
Nice one.
All right.